Good men done wrong on paternity court.
You don't go and give another man.
I know I made a mistake at one time.
How would a child know to tell another child that's not your father?
And she didn't never want to know who the father of this child was.
No matter what, still my daughter.
Looking at his face, you could tell he had been through the worst days of his life. From having a manipulative girlfriend to thinking he may or may not be the father of the girlfriend's son. Journey of roller coasters, trust me. I hope you're ready. Your minds are about to be blown.
Ms. Yancey, you are here to save your family by proving to your boyfriend that he fathered your 7-month-old son, Kahari. You testify that his paternity denial is tearing you apart. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Thomas, you claim that after finding pictures of Ms. Yancey and the baby with another man,
living in denial of being the father of their child, Mr. Thomas is determined to find out who really owns the kid in the picture. Now, don't think their story didn't start off as a love story, because it did. But I guess not every love story ends up with the princess having her Prince Charming and a perfect family.
Well, it's important because, we've been having a few issues ever since my baby was born. It would go, he was there through the entire pregnancy, and we would go back and forth after the baby was born about, the baby doesn't look like him.
Oops! Now there's trouble in their little paradise, and it looks like everything is hanging on the line. The trust issues start to spiral into the relationship, and things start to fall apart with both Mr. Thomas and Miss Yancey seeing different people. An open relationship now? Well, I didn't see that coming.
We were just getting back together. We were still,
there was a little brief breakup?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was seeing somebody, and then I started seeing somebody, but basically that all transpired from us just not being pretty much truthful with each other.
The tension starts to build. They start yelling at each other, and it turns into a total mess. We broke up, but we didn't break up. It wasn't a serious breakup. You still needed me on and on and on. Even the judge has to shut them up at some point. If you ask me, these two definitely need a therapist.
But I thought y'all said you all were broken up.
Right, exactly. When we were breaking up,
That's not
to
correct.
me, I felt like we were over.
If we were over-
and I told him that multiple times.
If we were so
we're
over,
done.
you
Don't
would-
call me. Don't come to my house. Do not disturb me. Leave me alone.
But
he
at the same
continued to
time,
be
she's
persistent.
still calling me. She'll still come to my mom's house.
Things get pretty cozy, and Miss Yancey finds out she's pregnant. I know what you're thinking. Could it be for Mr. Thomas? Or could it be for one of the guys she was hanging out with while on a break? Well, hold your breath. You're in for a surprise of a lifetime. Trust me.
Mr. Thomas, take me to the time you found out Miss Yancey was pregnant. When did you find that out?
We were sitting at my mom's house, and she came and she said that she took a pregnancy test and she's pregnant. And I'm like, I was happy for the simple fact that over the years we were trying to conceive and have a baby. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, yes, it finally happened.
Boom! Miss Yancey drops the bomb in the courtroom, going on about how baby daddy might not be the dad of the kid. I bet you didn't see that coming now, did you? Tension starts to rise again, and things aren't looking pretty anymore.
Unfortunately, we've got to focus on your sexual practices during the time, Ms. Yancey, because we have a paternity question concerning Kahari, which is your baby.
Right.
See, when you get in this loosey-goosey phase, nothing good comes of it.
Right.
There's no boundaries. You all still having sex with each other, presumably unprotected.
Like the good guy Mr. Thomas is, he was there for Miss Yancey and the baby. All he wanted to do was be a good daddy, but was his heart crushed? Well, I guess we'll find out soon. The emotions start to rip open through his mind. He has himself throwing questions in his mind. Is this baby mine? Does this kid really belong to me? I tell you, he is in troubled waters.
You were pregnant with Kahari. Was he there for you?
Yes, Your Honor, absolutely.
The whole way?
The whole way.
Even though you sent that text back and said it might not be your child?
Yes, I explained to him that skeptical.
And even though she was skeptical, she told me, and I had my doubts, but at the same time, it was like the 50% chance it is mine.
Now all hell breaks loose. Baby daddy goes through her phone and finds out she's been texting another guy, saying that could be his child. Now that's just insane. Who does that? Mr. Thomas's mind comes down like a glass shattered into several pieces, with all doubts looking like a reality.
When do you start doubting again?
We had took a trip to Fresno to go visit family. I ended up going through her phone and I noticed that she has pictures with Kahari and the other man that could possibly be the father.
Why were you taking pictures with the other guy, Miss Yancey?
My mom looked at him and she told me straight up, I don't think that's Maurice's son.
Well, it's finally time to unveil the truth after so many lies and deceptions. The day of reckoning is finally here, with everyone itching to know the truth. Are you ready to find out? I bet you are. So take a deep breath, because here it comes.
Mr. Thomas, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It's okay, Your Honor. I still love her and I still love him at the end of the day, but if she wants, I feel like there's no need for me to try to build a strong relationship with him.
Well, that's not true. Now, see, listen, I support you in your truth, but I'm not gonna let you tell yourself a lie.
Now this is going to be one epic paternity showdown. I mean, cheating on your boyfriend with your ex-boyfriend is one thing, but cheating on your boyfriend with your ex-boyfriend and getting pregnant? She's very lucky to be alive. Let's dive into the juicy parts of the heartbreaking love saga, shall we?
Mr. Matlock.
Yes, ma'am.
You say that a few years back you were suddenly called away on family business.
Yes,
While
Your Honor.
absent, you claim the defendant, Ms. Monroe, invited her former lover to move into your family home.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Upon your return, you say you forgave her and resumed your sexual relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you think we've seen it all? Trust me, I'm quite sure you've never seen something like this before. This screams all shades of crazy in this relationship. Mr. Matlock took a vacation, leaving his girlfriend back in the house. Now prepare yourselves because this will blow your mind.
Back in 2006, when me and Miss Monroe first got together, she knew I was back and forth from Fort Smith to Fayetteville because I have a son down in that area. Back in 07, I was down there for a week.
No, you said
Yeah,
you
no,
were,
it was a
you said
week.
you were going to be
No,
gone a
it
weekend
wasn't.
and you
It
were gone
was
a
a
month.
week. You're
you
lying.
Were gone a
It
month.
was a week.
You were-
Now, while he was away, Miss Monroe, his girlfriend moved her ex into his house. Yep, you heard that right. She moved her ex-boyfriend into her boyfriend's house. Crazy, right? There's more. She didn't act like she cared or she was sorry about it. I can tell you're screaming right now.
He told me he was going to be gone for a weekend. So after the weekend, of course, being a girlfriend, you're going to care about somebody's well-being, wonder where they are if they're not calling you, if you have no contact with them. So of course, yes, I did call him. And then he never answered my calls. And this went on for a whole month.
So, Mr. Matlock, were you getting phone calls from Ms. Monroe and not answering?
No, Your Honor, I wasn't.
To make the situation even messier, she didn't just move her ex into the house, she was also sleeping with him. I gotta tell you, she has some nerve doing stuff like that. Mr. Matlock comes back from his vacation and things fly out of the roof.
You returned home.
She put her ex out. We talked on the phone
Because I
about
wanted
the
you.
situation.
I didn't want him.
I had feeling for her. I've been knowing her since we was young, since 12, 13. So I felt something about her. So we worked out the whole situation. We talked about it. We worked it out. I eventually moved back in the house.
The heavy bomb is about to drop into the mix. Now, after forgiving her and settling their differences, they go on to be lovebirds once again. Is this gonna last? Hell no! Mr. Matlock finds out she's pregnant from his sister. Boom! That's right, she didn't tell him. She told his sister. She really has some real nerve.
I get a phone call from my sister. What's up?
You ain't who
May
you
pregnant.
pretended to be.
Whoa, what you mean May pregnant? I just talked to her
I
on the
told you
phone.
that.
You didn't tell me that. You told me that after I talked to my sister and you told my sister that you were pregnant. Anyway, after I found out that she was pregnant.
Now, the heart-crushing revelation doesn't just stop there. He asks her who the father of the child is, and she tells him point blank that he isn't the dad. Hold up, I'm not the dad? It felt like all the air in the room disappeared and was replaced with anger. Mr. Matlock was definitely not going to stick around to raise a kid that wasn't his.
You have doubt. Do you know for certain or are you just doubtful?
Once you say you are not the father to a man, that baby ain't mine no more. I didn't hear from her.
At what point did she then claim that you might be the father?
December 31st, 08. Me and her sister are friends.
Okay.
So I call her sister every New Year's. Happy New Year's, what's up? First thing out of sister's mouth was, what's up is you need to check on your daughter. I didn't even know she had a girl. Matter of fact, when the baby was born, another man was in the hospital room with her when the baby was born.
Where was
There's no going back now. After paying for child support, he wants to know if all that money was not wasted on the wrong kid. Will it be a double dose of daddy drama, or will the clouds of uncertainty finally clear? The key to the truth was in the envelope. Here goes nothing.
Mr. Matlock, the wait is over. You are not.
I knew it. Go find your baby daddy. He else on child support. Oh, my money back. That's what I need.
You know, I know you feel as if this money's been going out the window and you've been paying for a child that's not yours and that you could have been paying that money to your son, and I understand why you feel that way, but
Mr. Pierce and Miss Covell find themselves wrapped up in the mysteries of lies, cheating, and drama of baby daddy. Prepare your seats, my friends, because this ride is about to turn into a catastrophe.
Mr. Pierce,
Yes, Your
you
Honor.
are summoning your ex-fiancee, Ms. Covell, for a paternity test to prove that her 1-year-old son, Julian, is not your son.
That is correct, Your Honor.
You claim Ms. Covell deceived you into believing you were the father, and it wasn't until Julian was 6 months old when she finally confessed confess she had cheated.
Now let's spill the beans on their now crashing love epilogue. You could see it all over his face that he was hurt. He was pained. He couldn't believe it was happening to him again. Sadly, this wasn't his first rodeo in such a situation. It's like the world is playing tricks on his mind.
So, Mr. Pierce,
Yes, sir.
you believe this was truly necessary because you have doubt, am I correct?
Correct, Your Honor. I just, it's happened to me in the past before. I just have this doubt, and it's killing our family. It's killing the relationship I do have with the kids, and it hurts. It truly hurts.
I can see that it really does.
Mr. Pierce just wasn't having it. There was so much distrust in his gut. I mean, these two were about to tie the knot in a couple of months. But Mr. Pierce said, hold up, I gotta be sure the kid's mine. But is it? Is he the father? Trust me, I'm as curious as you are.
Mr. Pierce, say these things, Ms. Cavell.
It really hurts me. I know I made a mistake at one time. We were both going through an emotional roller coaster at that time period. I made a mistake one time. I understand that my son looks nothing like him, but he looks identical to me when I was a baby.
You don't see no color in that baby.
Diving into how the whole mystery was uncovered, Mr. Pierce was having the best relationship any couple could wish for. Then the walls start to crack and the truth starts to slip out. Ms. Covell cheated on him. Ouch! He couldn't keep his tears back.
I asked her, I was like, so was it around the same time? Is it possibly his?
And so, Ms. Cavell, why did you finally come clean in that moment? Why not say something before?
From day number one, I had been wanting to tell him. My conscience was eating at me, it was killing me, but because we were in such a good place, I didn't want to ruin everything that we had. So that was my perfect opportunity. I didn't want to continue lying. He asked me directly, so I wanted to make sure that I told him the truth. I tried to tell him the whole story in one night. He wasn't having it, so it took about 3 days for everything to finally unfold and for me to finally tell him, yes, it was about the same time period as when I got pregnant with my son.
Everything and everywhere starts to get so tense. All emotions are flying about the place like a hive of bees. Ms. Covell regrets her actions, but Mr. Pierce is too hurt and is in no mood to forgive. His nightmares flash through his eyes like it's about to become real. I mean, the woman he loved cheated on him. How would you react if you wore his shoes?
Ms. Cavell, I want to understand the timeline, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, and I hate to bring up painful memories, but that's how we get to the truth. Little Julian, when was he born?
May 13th.
May 13th. So this is here. Explain to the court you had that moment where you fell short and cheated.
We're in for a courtroom showdown of epic proportions, people. With his mind clouded by doubt, Mr. Pierce insists that it's not the only time she's cheated on him. He goes on listing times when she gave a whole lot of excuses about her whereabouts. You could almost feel sorry for him.
Say any couple words and make you feel good?
Go ahead and take the lie detector test. It was only one time thing.
And I want a lie detector test. I mean, even after the baby, if he does prove to be mine, how do I know that it's not happened any other time? I mean, you're the queen of being late. You work 5 minutes away from home, and every day there's something.
It gets really crazy at this point, with Mr. Pierce dropping evidence on evidence like he was aiming to send Ms. Covell to prison. Mind-blowing revelation. Ms. Covell even had a lie detector test done. He sure didn't come here to play with anyone, trust me.
I want to show you a couple pictures here, Your Honor, that I brought for evidence.
I'd like to see that. Jerome, will you hand it to me,
First
please?
off, this is my baby picture. Then this is Julian's baby picture.
Okay.
Then I've cropped them here together, and you can see them side by side. Like every time I look at them, how can I
You're
not
right,
see?
though. He doesn't look like you. He looks identical to me.
Everything hangs in the balance. Their marriage, their child. It's all gonna go up in smoke if Mr. Pierce isn't the father of their child. Well, the moment of truth is here, people. Brace yourselves because things are about to get very intense. Let the truth be told.
Mr. Pierce, you are Julian's father.
I'm sorry. I really am sorry for putting you through all this.
I'm sorry too, and hopefully we can just move on from here and build back to what we had and what we can have.
All you could feel for this man right here was sadness because he didn't deserve all he went through. You wouldn't believe your ears if I told you how insane the drama was. Are you ready for your minds to be blown? Grab your popcorn because here we go.
Ms. Lepine, you say for the past 30 years, you'd always believed the defendant, Mr. Lepine, was your dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then just months ago at a family dinner, you were told by a family member that he's not your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Still in shock, you state you're here today to finally discover the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lepine, you say you've spent years in jail for unpaid child support and your life has been turned upside down.
Yes, Your Honor.
Jumping into the pool of questionable fatherhood, Miss Lepine was out for dinner having a good time with the family. Everything's going well then. Boom! A family member drops a shocking revelation, making her question if Mr. Lepine is actually her father. Out of the blues? Just like that? Hold on, because something ain't right.
We was at a family dinner and we was all just discussing how our parents was, and then family members started saying that, well, you don't know if he's your dad or not because you don't look like your dad and he might not be your dad.
Wait a minute, wait. Did you ever heard of anything like this?
No, Your Honor.
You would think it was all going to end there. Surprise, surprise. It didn't end there, folks. She asks another family member if what she heard was true, and my God, did she receive the most heartbreaking answer. They told her this wasn't the time and place to talk about it.
They gave you a name?
Gave me a name.
Of the man that was your father?
Yes.
Wow. Mr. Lepine.
Yes, ma'am.
For 30 years, all this time, you believe this young girl was your daughter?
Yes, ma'am. And I've been 4 to 5 years in jail. It gets rough.
4 to 5 years in jail.
Yes, ma'am.
For unpaid child support.
Yes, Your Honor.
For a young woman that calls you and then says, some family member told me you may not even be my biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Filled with confusion, she reaches out to her dad and asks him what the hell is going on. Then another bombshell drops. Mr. Lepine has been in jail for 5 years. Want to know why? Of course I'll tell you. He was put in jail for not paying child support for a kid he didn't even know wasn't his. Now that's mind-blowing.
You could be thrown back in jail again for being behind, and yet you still don't know whether you're her biological father.
True. I don't know if I'm her dad or not.
Have you ever been arrested for anything else besides this child support issue?
Never, ma'am.
Just getting behind in child support.
Yes, ma'am. That's it.
Now Mr. Lepine's other daughter, who of course looks like him, walks in and starts to talk about how they were teased as kids. Apparently, it's been going on since they were kids. The whole courtroom gets emotional with people feeling really sad and wondering what really happened.
After me and her separated, I was told by friends of mine that they had slept with her and other people.
Wow. So as you look at Ms. Lepine, do you feel like she looks?
No, ma'am, she looks nothing like me. And the dark
But your
skin,
other daughter, you claim looks like you.
dark hair, dark skin, skinny, identical to me.
Jerome, I think it's time we meet her. Please escort her in.
Slowly, the hidden mystery starts to unveil itself, bringing up the little differences in the daughters that were ignored when they were little. And trust me when I tell you, these were some major differences. There was no single resembling feature from Mr. Lepine.
This is a picture we took last week of me, my dad, and my sister.
And you feel like you strongly resemble your father.
Right.
But Brandy does not.
Right.
When you look at this picture, Brandy, what do you feel?
I always thought that I just got my mother's side of the genes.
Things start to get tricky as Mr. Lepine explains why he left his kids when they were little. He came back from work one day and boom, his wife told him to leave the house and never come back. I'm sure you're filled with so much shock as to how this is all starting to add up. Trust me, I am too.
I left for 10 years.
You and her mother broke up.
I come home, she come into where I was sitting and told me, I want you to move out.
And how old was Miss Lepine then? How old was your daughter?
3. I just packed my stuff and left. Now I wish I'd never left.
So, Mr. Lepine, you have regrets
Yes, ma'am.
because you feel like you let your daughters down?
I did let them down.
It's been one hell of an emotional ride with these families. From having a daughter to thinking you had a daughter to going to jail for a daughter you aren't sure is yours. It's been one bumpy ride, honestly. Well, that's all about to end because the truth is about to pop out. The envelope opens and here it comes, folks.
Ms. Brandy Lepine. Ms. Lepine, Mr. Richard Lepine is not your biological father.
Sorry.
No matter what, still my daughter.
Are you ready for another roller coaster of mind-blowing revelations? Well, buckle up because you're in for a show with Ms. Schenk and Mr. Robinson. From cheating to trying to know who the real father of their daughter is, these two go on a train wreck of emotions. Get ready for the drama, DNA, and a whole lot of who's your daddy.
Ms. Schenk, you claim that when your daughter Serenity turned 2, Mr. Robinson began to doubt paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, since then, you claim he's pulled away from your child and it's now breaking your heart to watch her suffer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Robinson, you state from the moment Serenity was born, you were actively involved in her life and developed a very strong bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
The card of tricks was played on Mr. Robinson when he found out that Ms. Schenk was pregnant. Like every dad, he was super excited that he was going to have a kid of his own. Don't worry, the breaking news is just around the corner. Ms. Schenk shreds his heart by telling him he might not be the dad. Oh my God!
I want to understand what happened that changed everything for you as it relates to your little girl.
Up to 2 years of Serenity's life, I was there for her and Mrs. Schenk until about 5 months. She was 5 months pregnant. She told me that I may not be her father because she slept with a friend.
So hold on, take me back. You said you were there for her, meaning when you found out Ms. Schenk was pregnant, you thought you were having a baby.
Yes, ma'am.
It was never ever mentioned to you that there could possibly be another father.
Ms. Schenk does some more shredding of hearts. She tells him that she got intimate with one of his friends while he was around. Ouch! Trust me, you needed to see his face when that news popped out. He was like a nuke waiting to explode.
She told me that she had slept with a friend of mine and didn't know if I was the father or if he was the father.
So she came clean.
Yes, ma'am.
So Ms. Schenk, that happened.
Yes, Your Honor.
There could possibly be another father.
I didn't know. When I first found out I was pregnant, he was there, like he said. We were in an on and off relationship. Around the time I had slept with him, I did sleep with somebody else.
As Mr. Robinson's walls come down crashing, more revelations start to unfold. He goes through baby mama's phone and sees she's been texting her cousin. What's she saying? She tells her cousin it's 50-50. Mr. Robinson might not be the dad. Now hold up, the roof in the court is about to fall off.
When did you decide to tell the truth?
5 months into my pregnancy, he had went through my phone and seen a text message I had sent to my cousin saying it was a 50-50 chance that he couldn't have been the father.
I'm missing some facts, and I need you to fill me in, because you said when you found out you were pregnant, you said to yourself, he's the father, because I only had sex with this guy, the other guy, one time, and we used protection even though there was an issue, so he must be the father.
It even gets juicier. Mr. Robinson finds out that she's getting the other guy she slept with tested. Yes, you very much heard correctly. She was getting him tested and not Mr. Robinson. Ms. Schenk is for sure a sneaky woman.
I found out that she was having the other guy tested, or she wanted to get tested and didn't have me tested.
You made plans to have the other man tested?
Yes, but we couldn't find him. Because when my daughter was first born, she didn't look anything like him. She looked just like the other man.
Oh. And so, as Mr. Robinson was bonding with the baby, really stepping up to the plate as father, in your mind, you're looking and you're saying, my baby looks just like the other guy.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I need to have him tested.
Things start to melt down. Mr. Robinson already finds out the truth and then starts to withdraw from the kid. His mind is filled with thoughts that could fill up a stadium. Well, it was just getting clearer and clearer. There were a ton of underlying issues at play here.
He'll call and talk to my son. Sometimes he'll talk to her, tell her he misses her and he loves her. And sometimes when he calls, like when he's with his family, he doesn't even ask to speak to Serenity. An example is a couple weeks ago, they came and him and his mother came and picked up my son. And my daughter was devastated because she couldn't go. She cried for about 20-25 minutes. Even sometimes when my son talks to his father on the phone, and after he gets off, Serenity says, I want to talk to daddy, and my son says, that's not your daddy.
How would a child know to tell another child that's not your father? See, that's a child in grown folks' business, where he doesn't belong.
Ms. Schenk steps up to the stage to try to bring some clean air into the courtroom. She goes on about how she's been in a similar situation and how she thinks the kid kind of looks like Mr. Robinson. Is that true? Does Mr. Robinson really believe she does?
What have you observed of the situation?
Well, first I'd like to say that I'm here today to support my daughter. I totally understand why Mr. Robinson pulled away from my daughter Serenity, granddaughter Serenity. I was in a similar situation with my son. And after 5 months of bonding with this child, to find out that it was not my grandchild, it broke my heart. So I don't want my granddaughter to be 21 and find out that this man is not her father.
The tension was palpable, but no worries because the moment of truth was here. Time to spill the beans on whether this relationship had a future or not. All eyes were on the judge as she got ready to give the final verdict. Cue the mic drop.
When it comes to 2-year-old Serenity Shank, Jamario Robinson is her father. How do you feel, Mr. Robinson?
I feel great.
Good.
I feel great.
Now I see you're having another baby. I have to ask.
I know who the baby daddy is.
We know who the father
Yes.
is, and it's not Mr. Robinson.
No, ma'am.
So you all are off now.